Welcome back to Anything Outdoors with Steve. Today we're going to be doing a trio of lakes. We're going to hit Sawtooth, maybe even Alpine Lake, and then head over to Goat Lake and Lake 9000. And the plan is to sleep at Sawtooth or maybe even Alpine, and then again at Goat Lake, and once at Lake 9000, then again back at Goat Lake on the way out. So I've got a fairly heavy pack, way overdone for multiple days if I decide to stay longer and do more. So come join us and see what we see. That'll be the answer. I already know this pack is going to be weighing on me hard. So we will see how I hold up. I'm definitely not going to be keeping this pace. I'm going to be slowing down to old man pace real fast as soon as we hit some elevation gains. So from what I understand, this is a fairly flat trail, just slightly tilted upward, and all the elevations towards the last mile or two. Well, I drove down from Coeur d'Alene, got here about 4 in the morning, got a couple hours of sleep in the car. And man, my hip is already going, owie. We'll see if the painkillers kick in. There are a lot of pros and cons to solo hiking. Of course, the biggest pro being able to properly unwind with only your own thoughts, your own experience. You don't have to worry about anybody else, what they're doing, if they're keeping up, if they're hurting or not. So you only have to watch for yourself. Very selfish, but that is a lot easier for self-care. Now, of course, that also means that if you get injured, you're your own first responder and you have to self-rescue. On some busier trails, like this first stretch up to Sawtooth Lake, I've got lots of potential help if I need it. But from that point on, the crowds kind of disperse greatly. So Sawtooth Lake being the primary target for most people I see up here so far are day hikers, very few campers. When I arrived at the trailhead, there's maybe a dozen cars. So there's a dozen people camping out here. So of course, that was a pro and a con, because injury being your con. Another pro being you get to set your own pace. If I see something I want to go check out, I just go to it. I don't have to worry about stopping the whole group to check out a waterfall or stream. If I feel like slowing down, I slow down. If I want to check something out, it's really easy. So on the list of do's and don'ts, they say no motorized equipment, no drones, no hang gliding, because it's disturbing to the natural sounds of nature. Yet, you've got horses, dogs. The natural sounds of nature is a dog barking at every lake that you go to. And they think a little drone buzz is gonna disturb the natural sounds of nature. What a joke. Of course they say pack it in, pack it out. How many people do you see packing out after their horse? Then of course the real question, do all the wildlife pack their crap out too? No. That's right. Of course, don't leave stuff on the trail for people to step in. But other than that, taking a little log rest here. I'm 1 mile in and almost to the first split. So I've got to hang a right and then the next split hang a left. And that'll be Sawtooth and Alpine Lake there. Right there. And then heading back from there, I'm going to backtrack and go to the left and hit Goat Lake right here. And that'll be my camp. It's going to be a rough day, I think. 1 mile. This is a heavy pack for a 60-mile trek, and I might be changing that mind real fast. Oh, got it.
This one?
Oh, that's a lot of work, isn't it? Every step. So the pain stick has worn off. My hip is starting to get the aches. And downside of old age. And that's part of the factor why I want to do these. Is because I don't know how much longer I can. I'd love to say, hey, let's get some stem cells in there and rebuild that thing with a simple injection. But that's still years off. And I am still climbing out of Alpine Lake. And I think this is kind of making the decision for me. I regret. I don't want to feel defeated leaving here, but I think the part that I did already is a win. We'll get to Sawtooth and decide. Another one of the pros and cons, mostly con, for solo hiking is you find yourself somewhat lonely, wanting to share the same experiences with other people. Luckily, I've got this camera, so I can share it through that vicariously. Anybody that wants to see what Alpine Lake looks like, there you go. Of course, it's not the same as in person. Cameras never catch the color. It almost always looks black. I can already tell you I'm fighting the curve of hydration. Even after drinking more than a gallon of water, I am still dehydrated. And I need to take another one of those salt pills. I just don't want to stop and dig for it because I'm so close. But I can already feel the salt crystals on the forehead. They're not big granules yet, but just little tinies. Now in a pinch you could do the old wipe and lick if you know you're not able to get other salt. That's one way to do it. Replenish what you've lost. That's kind of nasty, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. Every time I drink water, about 10 minutes after, I feel another burst of energy. And so that tells me right away I'm in dehydration mode and I need to do more about it. I think the Hydro Pack there has about 2 liters in it. Plus I drank a liter at lunch camp and had 2.5 to start So I'm 3.5, which is a gallon. And if I finish off this 2 liters, almost gallon and a half. That tiny pump. I am not doing well. I'm extremely dehydrated. Doesn't seem to matter how much I drink, I'm not catching up. To the point where you start feeling nauseous. I'd lay down in my hammock, but it's so hot out right now underneath that tarp and in the sun too. So there's no real safe place to sit to cool off yet, other than the lake. So I'm just trying to chug carefully, because as I drink more and more, it tends to want to come up. So I'm just slowly drinking. I've got some pretzels over here, Squirrely Dan's coming over once in a while to see if he could get some. That is what I think I needed. At least it feels nicer. There we go. I think I've made my final decision. I'm going to start packing up and push on to Goat Lake. I think I should be able to do that, even though even just walking down to get water, I was out of breath. But if I can't make it up there for whatever reason, I can spin back around and go back home. But I think I should be able to push that one at least. I really don't think I'm in the condition to push to Lake 9000, unfortunately. So I might be throwing in the towel on that one, which is really sad. But it'd be kind of stupid to try and push that if I'm feeling like this. So I'm gonna make camp at Goat Lake and see what the next day brings. If I'm feeling better, which I highly doubt. Everybody's been saying day 3 is the worst. I'm on day 1. So if I'm feeling any better for whatever reason, I might try to push to Lake 9000, but I don't see it happening most likely on this trip, unfortunately. So that really kind of sucks. Last night, every time the wind blew, the chills would get the skin aching. Oh. Tons of little fish in here. There's a little guy right there. Okay. There's a few. Here's another one for reasons why we hike. It's the challenge for sure. You know, I was told by 2 people on the way up that it gets a lot worse, and you know, in my mind it's pretty much challenge accepted. It was a butt kicker. It truly was. For a day hike, it probably wouldn't be so bad, but for the pack I'm carrying, it's just too much. And then coming down the trail to the backside of the lake here, it was all I had. When I hit the trailhead, the beginning of the lake, there was a tent set up there, and immediately my spirits just got crushed. Like, oh man, not only is there another camper here, but that's probably the best spot too, or it's at least the easiest to get to. But I started down this trail, and it wasn't bad at first, but it turns into a full-out rock climb in a few spots, and I'll show you on the way back. But yeah, it was pretty brutal just to get this far in, and luckily I'm sleeping on the ground. There's spiders all over the place. There's mice. No mice have pissed in my face yet, so I think I was successful there. Doesn't look like anything was chewed on. But I left a bait bag out for him to draw him away from me instead of towards me. But yeah, I think it worked out well, and I didn't go falling off the cliff, so that's a bonus. It's a little weird. Cool air just started blasting down the hill, so maybe we do have rain coming. Well, if we're lucky, it won't rain. And if we're really lucky, we might get some pikas to visit. They're all over just racing around this hill. Pretty cute. Sun's just starting to kiss the top of the mountains there. As soon as the cloud breaks. And the color of the water is just stunning. Of course, the camera shows it as reflection only. It's weird how the camera picks up one view and your eyes see something else. Sorry about the shaky camera work. I've just got this one on a handheld. Yeah, right about now I could definitely use Grant and his yacht just to chauffeur me back to the trailhead on the water instead of on this trail. I showed you a little bit of the trail there where it hits the rock slabs right there. And that's one of the spots that's difficult, and then there's another one just past that too. That's probably the worst one. I forgot I had backtracked I had gone down that way quite a ways, and I was seeing more and more stuff that just doesn't work. So I finally said, no, we're going to spin around because I think the trail ends right up here on that little rock up above. Actually, if I've got the energy, I might walk up there. Maybe on down and get some camera shots from up there. That'd be a pretty cool spot. Oh yeah, there we go. Now the color's coming out. Wow. Falling off the cliff, so that's a bonus. And yeah, challenge accepted. Pretty decent night's sleep ish.